So I got some of these mod boxes we're using for like a lot of my, I don't know, just little stuff we have to keep in the shop, electrical stuff. You see this one's got mostly heat shrink in it. But I got it in my head, I'm gonna make like a drawer system for them, kind of like component boxes like Fastenal somebody will bring out. But I'm gonna make something like that with this. So first thing I gotta do is I'm gonna draw a DXF that's got this attach situation on top of it. Um, I seen where somebody sold the one for pack out boxes, but I couldn't find the one. It's $3. I just buy it. But I was just gonna kind of record doing this right here. This is a lot of what I do with the burn table. Is we'll pull measurements and then draw a DXF, and then we'll cut a sample piece and see if it works. But here we go. So the first thing I'm gonna do is get this overall outside. I'm just gonna leave a little bit of room and try to leave it on like a whole number. 22 and a half seems like it works pretty good. It leaves a little bit of room. So 22.5 that way. We'll use that handle to pull the drawer. I'm gonna say 16 inches. Be sufficient on that. 16 inches. All right. We went 16 all the way to the back. Just say 15's that edge. 15's that edge right there. So 2 inches back. Inch to the front of it. Forward a quarter. Okay. So if we just figure that one's gonna go in the center. 5.5. These, I just make that opening. Two inches. And then at the back is 7 5/8. Yep. Okay. We'll go over here to the computer and see what we come up with. Get this thing drawn up. All right. So, first thing we're gonna do is make our square. First corner 0 0 22.5 by 16. That's got our top piece. 2.5 by 16. 11.25. That gets us a center line. And then start with these front ones. We know that we're going to start those at 1 inch. Okay. So they were going to be 2 inches. That was from that other. 2 inches in will be our first rectangles. And they're 1.625 wide. Tab 0.625. And so 4.25 would be 2.125. tab. That was that measurement. Do one off each side. Just clip some of this stuff out of our way before we get too confused. Alright, and they were 4.25 wide. 4.25. And they were 1.625 wide. Yep, that's those. I just don't look. I thought that looked funny. I had 1 5/8, they were actually 5/8. 0.625. No big deal. Trim that pretty easy. That's the 3 spots where it locks. Alright. Next thing. I'm just trying to make it where I get one solid line through here when I start working. Okay. So they're going to come forward 2 inches. 2 tab. Yeah, that's correct. Inside the inside is going to be 5, so 2.5 tab. And there's 6, so we can just do 6 tab. I shouldn't need those anymore. 7 5/8. To the back ones, 7.625. We were making them 2 inches, so come back 2 tab. Let's measure these out real quick. That's 6. That's 2. Alright, that should be it. Get a piece of plate set up and cut her out and see what happens. Alright, I got an old piece of 20 gauge up here we're going to try her out with. Got 45 amp consumables in. I got all that set up. We'll go get it nested in Pro Nest and see if we can't get it cut. So when we first got this table, they didn't know a lot about Pro Nest, but it was the one that they offered. I think they were trying to sell us on sheet cam or plasma. I can't remember, but it more of a generic type one, and that's what they kind of showed us around while we were there. And it looked like there was a lot to it. So when they had told us this was an option, but you've got to pay for a subscription. The other one's free. This one you got to pay for it every year, and it's like $400 or $500. But I don't have any of the problems I see people having with the, I guess, more or less no-name ones, like they were trying to sell us. And one cool thing about Pro Nest is it's got all these generic parts in it right here that you can pick and say, like, I don't know, if you just wanted to do a simple gusset, you can click on this and just put the dimensions of it in it. You can add a circle to it if you had a cutout or whatever. But that was kind of a big selling point to me, because when we got this table, I'd never run CAD before, and I really thought that was going to be a lot harder than it was, and it ended up, I learned it quick. But I really liked the idea of that, because I was like, well, dang, if I can't do nothing else, I can come over here and pick out whatever I need and make something work right here. But since I've gotten to where I know my way around CAD pretty good, I don't really come here that much to that spot. Over here and just check out what it did. I think all that's gonna be good. Turn to nesting. Turn to nesting. I think it'll do just like that, just fine. Output, output, output and replace. Okay. All right. Get the GUI fired up. I need to see. I think it's 20 gauge, but I'm not positive. 100% on that. There it is. Always keep one of these around. You can check the metal thickness to tell you the gauge. So when I put it into the GUI that operates it, I can tell it exactly what our material thickness is. I thought that was 18. I'll say it's 18. And it already has all your feed rates, all that accounted for, versus where some of the tables we looked at, you had to manually enter all that every time. So it's 18 gauge. Home Z, home all, import, job 1. There it is. Alright, mild steel. We're going to touch 16 gauge because it's galvanized and it's going to be at 45 amp. I'll let it cut a little slower. Or 5. Alright, we honed everything. So this is pretty neat. It's got a laser pointer. You hear it, it changes over. You turn the laser on, and then I take my keyboard and I can move the gantry and all to where we want to start at on this plate. Ooh. I'd say it's as good a spot as any. And it's just an old scrap piece. I ain't gonna go in a whole bunch of trouble of getting that right. Oh, primary head. Alright, we got all that set up. I think we can run it. Alright, we're gonna let her run and see how much trouble we have out of this first run. It hadn't run in a couple days, and usually when it don't run for a few days, you have to work some kinks out. I don't really like cutting those squared edges and those little rectangles like that. Seems like it does better when you round them, but I didn't know how that would work if I rounded them. Acted up right there a little bit. Alright, so we got everything cut out, cleaned up, and it looks pretty good. Because it's so thin, for the sake of trying this thing out, and I left enough on the ends, I'm just going to break a 3/4 inch lip on each side, just randomly. We won't use this one, we're proving that our little drawing works. Got all my marks. should be good. If we were actually breaking something critical, I would have center punched these instead of just a crow's foot. But for what we're doing, we're gonna be all right. And I would be checking these with a square. All right, we got those broke. We'll go back over to the. We'll just sit on the burn table. We'll try it out. All right, here's the moment of truth, whether this works or not. Looks like everything lines up good. I think I'll make these a shade wider, at least on that left, because I had measured. It was an eighth of an inch shy of what I had measured, and they were a little bit tight. I think I'll add like maybe a quarter to those. But other than that, it works. And the drawer, when I make my drawer that I'm gonna make, they'll break up on the sides and probably have that lip on the bottom, and they'll be a lot more rigid. And I might make them out of that 18 gauge, honestly. Right, if it had one more lip in it, it would be a lot more rigid. I got a bunch of scrap stainless I was thinking about doing them out of, but it'll have a side, probably gonna be like a side and a back. And I don't know if I'll put that lip on the front or not, because you got that handle, you can pull the drawer out, and then you reach and get that, and it comes off of it. Well, we know that works. That took about 30 minutes. If anybody wants the DXF for this, shoot me a message or down in the comments, comment it, and I can email you that DXF, at least for that pattern, and you can do whatever you want to with it from there. I couldn't find it anywhere, so there it is.